Comedian or the BAN token might still be one of those hidden gems in the pump.fun ecosystem that most people don't yet have on their radar that still has some upside potential. Let's have a look at the on-chain analytics. Let's try to figure out if this current positive momentum can continue. Now, everything is going up right now. Bitcoin is close to its all-time highs, but some categories within crypto do better than others. And the launchpad for meme coins, pump.fun, tends to outperform everything else, not just this week, but already for the last months. In the last week, the entire ecosystem, which now has a market cap of more than 5 billion, more than doubled. Followed by the Elon Musk inspired tokens, by dog themed tokens, and again by memes. The market is clearly getting risk on. What's not performing that well? It's privacy coins, it's centralized exchange tokens, it's bridge tokens. It's in general everything that's very close to technology and not that memeable. Now here's why specifically the Comedian token or the BAN token might be interesting. Here's a list of the pump.fun ecosystem tokens ordered by their market cap. And yes, all eyes are currently on the Peanut token or on the ACT token because those two got recently listed on Binance. But the real opportunity is probably not in the tokens in the hundreds of millions of market cap, but rather in the tens of millions. Now on this channel, I've discussed each and every single of those tokens here above. We haven't yet looked at the on-chain analytics of Comedian, and that's what we're going to do today. Now the nice thing about the token is that it's not yet mainly owned by the centralized exchanges. We do still have a lot of trading volume on Radium, so we can directly look on-chain at what's happening. 25% of all of trading happens on Radium on Solana. And so have a look at this. This is the trending tokens in the last 24 hours on the Solana chain. And the Comedian token or BAN is also part of those trending tokens. It's currently got a liquidity pool of 3.2 million. Now here's something that I think everybody should do whenever buying any token that's still traded in a decentralized manner. Go to dexscreener.com and have a look at the following statistic. What we look at here is a long-term chart of BAN, and what we see on the right is the performance in the last 24 hours, 10.5%. But at the same time, we also see the number of buyers and sellers and the buying volume relative to selling volume. Now it's interesting how there is an overhang of 2% of buyers versus sellers, how there's less of an overhang though for the buying volume relative to the selling volume. What that means is that the sellers tend to move more per transactions than the buyers do. Now that's not really a surprise when the price is also rising, right? When you typically deploy, say, $1,000 in a meme coin and then it doubles and it triples, then you're going to sell more than what you have bought. So as a seller in an uptrend, you tend to move more money than as a buyer. Now let's try to find out whether or not we've got some kind of manipulation going on with this rally, or if this rally can last. We are not going to find the answer to that question on the website, right? Everybody looks at websites, everybody looks at official Twitter profiles, but the problem is that everybody has access to that data. And when everybody has access, we can't really get an edge in the market. We want to look at the data most people are not considering to be better than the average. Now here's something interesting, and I don't really know what to make out of this. On Twitter or the X platform, we've got roughly 3,000 followers. In Telegram, we've got two different kinds of groups. We've got the global group with 5,000 members, and we've got the English group with 94,000 members. Now that makes no sense to me. Compare this with the number of holders on chain. There's 13,000 holders. Those numbers don't really add up. Normally the numbers are way closer to one another, and having more Telegram followers than holders on chain, how does this show any organic growth? That doesn't necessarily mean though that we have to dismiss the token, because we've seen something very similar actually in the past. It seems like the global group has a lot of Chinese in it, and we have one very successful meme token that launched out of China. And that was SPX 6900 that we covered on this channel when it was still at 11 cents. Now that token is at 59 cents. It went up temporarily to almost 90 cents. And so let's have a look at the data. I try to be very early on this channel with various meme coins. Feel free to subscribe to not miss the next one. Let's have a look at what's actually happening on chain with the BAN token. Here's the first set of charts. On the left side, we see the number of first-time traders over time. On the right side, we see the number of token transactions over time. We see a clear influx of new traders on the 11th and 12th of November. Now we can ignore the recent data point because today isn't yet over. Today has just started, but I do believe this is likely going to come down somewhat, right? The trend is already a bit downwards. When we compare this to the number of recurring traders, unfortunately, even though we've seen a lot of new traders, even more existing traders traded at the same time. Still, the price due to those new investors was able to almost triple. What is interesting is that the trading volume seems to be somewhat equally split. As in, when we segregate between different wallet cohorts, so we look at small retail, medium-sized retail, large retail, and even the whales, we of course see the wave pattern in the US dollar trading volume, but when we normalize this to 100% as on the right chart, the fraction that those segments take up of the trading volume is relatively constant. Now, when we just look at the plain number of holders, then in those last 2 days, a lot of new retail investors entered. So on the left side, we see the number of wallets that have at least 10,000 Comedian tokens. At the current price, that's a bit under $1,000. For the chart in the middle, we go another 10x in minimum holding, so that's now a bit under $10,000. On the right, another 10x, so that's $100,000 worth of the token. The number of whales went down, the number of retail investors went up. The price, of course, in those last 2 days went up as well. But what this chart is not showing is how much of the token supply is held by those different cohorts. And here is the very interesting data. Have a look at that chart on the left. This is the token supply held by those different cohorts. So even though the number of whales went down, the fraction of all of the tokens that are held by the whales went up massively. So the wallets that have less than $1,000 worth of the token now only have 2% of the supply. The whales that have more than $100,000 worth of the token, they now own more than half of the supply. Just have a look on the right side how much value is now held by the whales. It went from 2 million to above 40 million temporarily. That's a 20x. The small retail investors increased their token balance only by roughly 50% during the same time frame. Now this is since the end of October of this year. So since over here, since the price went up by 800%. And so it clearly seems like the whales know something that we don't. Or they might be speculating on something that I've already mentioned at the beginning of this video. They might be speculating on another centralized exchange listing, maybe by Binance. Now, this is how I approach crypto in general. I like to look at what are the whales doing, because the whales tend to make the better calls. Crypto is both a game of luck and skill, and the more the game is played, the more one trades, the less important becomes the luck component and the more important the skill component becomes. Thus, the people that have more money, they tend to make better calls in the past, they tend to have more skill. It makes sense to follow what they are doing. And so the big question is, how can we learn about things like Peanut early? How do we know that Peanut has potential before it goes up by 700%? We actually got a trading signal for Peanut at already 3 cents. It went up by more than 2,600% since then. Have a look at this. This is the wallet tracking alert channel of the premium membership of this YouTube channel. We got an alert when Crypto Banter bought Peanut for 3 cents. And we have 33 of his wallets. Now those are not officially announced wallets. Those are wallets that we have found with our on-chain analytics research. In total, we track more than 400 wallets. Crypto Banter has a YouTube channel of more than 1 million followers. They definitely move the prices, but other YouTubers might not move the price as much, but they do tend to do right calls as well. They might be simply good traders. I very much believe in this strategy. I don't think it's the best to simply just pick random coins. I do believe it makes sense to follow the insiders, to try to figure out what kind of wallets do the insiders have, and then follow those top traders, follow those influencers. There's a dedicated tutorial section just on that topic. How can we find different influencer wallets? How can we then subsequently track them? And finally, how can we interpret the signals that we get from the tracking? Premium is not just all about wallet tracking. It's also about on-chain analytics, what we've done in this video. It's also about portfolio management. It's also about risk mitigation. Once we've got a signal, we also discuss this in a community in dedicated altcoin chats. And so feel free to check it out. It's currently $125 per month. There's also a 1-week money back guarantee. So in case you don't make money, in case you feel like you don't get enough value out of this premium membership, just message me within the first 7 days and I'll refund you 100%. There's really zero risk for you. And so I think the Comedian band token does have a lot of upside potential. I do think it's an overlooked token. Yes, there might be some manipulation going on, but the whales are accumulating, and that's probably in anticipation of a listing potentially by Binance. If you got some value out of this video, feel free to subscribe. I publish this daily. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you in the next video, or see you in premium. Cheers.